Forget What Was Meant to Ruin Me, Built Me is Rudy Bessit's debut book that revolves around younger self, reminiscing about his childhood and how he had to learn to suppress some of the painful memories. He opens up about battling with homosexuality, being sexually molested by his mother's boyfriend, losing his father at a tender age, and how he went through stages of neglect, rejection and insecurity. While Rudy is with us here in studio to tell us all about this book and how he used forgetting as one of his coping mechanisms. It's great to have you in studio. You look absolutely dashing. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you, Paul. Good morning.
What drove you to putting all these experiences that are obviously not easy experiences to go through and to deal with, and to want to share it with everyone in a book?
Well, when I started recollecting these memories, I actually realized that there's a lot of people out there who go through these same things. There's a lot of kids, there's a lot of men, women who go through the same thing. And one of the dangers of keeping these things inside, it can create cancer, it ruins your future. And the main idea for writing the book is for people to open up. Open up and get to a point where you accept what's happened to you, get to a point where you can actually forgive the perpetrators, because without forgiving, you can't move on. The anger that I felt. The other thing that led me to this is I realized that the person that I wasn't really who I was. That wasn't Rudy. I was created. That person was built through all of these incidents. So I became angry and I became revengeful, right? So when I started remembering my past, I knew what to work on.
Sure.
I then had a decision. Do I want to remain this angry person, unforgiving person? Or do I want to work on what's happened, get to the root of all these things and work it through? And so by telling people working on self can actually change you, that automatically means that we can create a better world.
And that is incredible, Rudy, because it's so easy to forget who you are, because everything else, that you go through starts to shape you. But I want to take you back to your childhood. You went through some really difficult things. I mean, you walked away with feelings of unworthiness. You felt like you didn't belong. And there were so many incidents that got you in that dark place. Can you take us briefly just through some of what you went through?
Certainly. I lost my dad when I was 3 years old. And the first incident of being with an older guy, I was 4 years old. And yes, to some degree, I always blame God. I always blame the death of my father and all of this, thinking if my dad never passed away, would this have happened, right? And so when my family found out, when my mom found out about the first rape incident with her boyfriend, I was beaten up. I was told...
You were the problem.
I was a problem.
And yet you were the child.
Exactly. And I could never speak to anyone, because if my mom thought it was my fault, what's anyone else going to think? So I had to live with this. And so I got rejected by my mother. I was told by my mom at some point that, I can't stand you. I don't know what it is, but I can't stand you. And it felt like no one could stand me. Like I didn't belong anywhere. I mean, I'm a child. And when they found out about the incident, my mom told me, I'm going to tell your teachers, I'm going to tell the neighbors, I'm going to tell the kids, I'm going to warn everyone.
So you were the bad apple and you needed to be shamed instead of having the adults in your life take responsibility. That is terrible. Exactly. And I can imagine as a child, you don't really have the coping mechanisms to deal with what is happening to you. And so forgetting for you, or forcing yourself to forget for you, was how you kept it together in a way. Speak to us about that process. I mean, how do you block these terrible incidents out?
Look, I was 7 or 8 years old, and my mom told me, whenever you think of what happened, just recite, forget, 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 forget. Right. And at first I didn't think that was, hence the title of the book, Forget. I was taught how to forget these things. And as a child, every painful experience I had, forget, forget, forget.
And then what happens, pardon Rudy, what happens then as an adult when you start to remember what happened?
first, you don't know if you're going crazy. Being a creative myself, because I've got my own stage production, I create things. You're not sure if this is something I'm creating. You're not sure if it's a fantasy, what it is. Luckily for me, I had one cousin I always spoke to. And at a later point, I remember telling him about most of these things, and he could confirm all of these things. I felt like I was going crazy. You're not sure what is going on. And my other coping mechanism was creating my own reality of whatever was. So something happens, my mom slaps me or whatever, and then I would just, in my mind, she was angry or she was drunk, or, to make it more acceptable, to make it more justifiable, what just happened. And it's crazy. I'm currently going through a phase where I'm trying to figure out what my past actually was. What was real? What was my perception? What did I block out? And I'm still recollecting bits and pieces of my past, which is crazy.
Writing this book, I think, is a great start for you, and you are so brave, you are so courageous, and thank you so much for sharing such a painful past. And as you say, even in your adult life, you're still working through what has happened. How can people get a hold of that book? Because we look at what's happening in our country now.
Exactly.
Children are still going through what you went through. Women are going through a very dark time as well. And I think, a book like this can help us get closer to the truth.
Right, I'm currently self-selling my book. So they could get hold of me on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on Instagram. I'm Rudy Bessit on Instagram. On YouTube, A Hair Thingy. That is my stage production, which I also use to motivate people. It's a comedy show. However, it comes with a message of self-acceptance and then accepting of others. So on Facebook, there's my Facebook page, A Hair Thingy. I've got a Facebook page, Forget, for the book. And then on YouTube, also there is A Hair Thingy. And then people can contact me on Facebook also as Rudy Bessit, and order their books. I ship the book to them at 50 Rand for shipment and 200 Rand for the book.
So it doesn't matter where you are in the country.
It doesn't matter where you are. I can ship it all.
Rudy, thank you so much for coming. All the best, and may you continue to find healing.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much.
That's Rudy Bessit, and he's been unpacking his debut book titled Forget, What Was Meant to Ruin Me, Built Me. Well, if you belong to a book club or if you're a lone reader, you can also join us for our Sunday morning book feature to talk about some of the books that you are currently reading or have read. Just send us a detailed description of your book club on email, or you can also send us a picture of the book with a relevant caption on our social media platforms. Our Twitter handle is @MorningLive SABC. Our Facebook page is Morning Live SABC, and of course you can drop us a mail, morninglive@sabc.co.za.